Again, many questions.
3 questions.
But first of all, about this open submission policy, I don't think that's possible. I mean, even if gallery says, we don't have an open submission policy, I can say that. I mean, there's nothing more annoying than having your email blocked up with unsolicited. It's just like random people writing to you. I mean, we're seriously in business, we're looking for people. Sure, I mean, there's a way to go and approach a gallery, work through other artists, ask an artist friend to introduce you, or ask another gallery to introduce you, or a collector to introduce you. These are how we, this is how we look at artists. Of course, also going to graduate shows and, studying an artist for some, is this working? Okay, for some time. So, yes, this open submission policy, I don't know, I can speak for myself. I don't know about Sharon.
We are the same, because
you don't have
exactly the same.
It's not possible. I mean, there's that much a commercial gallery can do. I mean, we are in business. We try to represent artists, which is another thing I wanted to speak about, that most of us young galleries now, we work in a representational mode. I mean, we represent an artist, so, anything that goes through in India goes through us. This is also so that we can work with them in a long term and in a sustained way. I mean, 2 years later or 5 years later, you should be able to come back to us and say, we bought this artist from you, where is his career going? I think you need to know that, and we need to know where all the works of the artist are being placed. I mean, so this is a very long-term view that we have of artists. So, coming back.
The last question is, how do you create the brand artist?
Yeah, so, I mean, your question is that does the artist's personality or his networking skills matter? It matters to a certain extent, yes, but eventually I think good art speaks for itself. There's that much that your personality or networking can get you. Eventually, I don't think it can get you beyond a certain point.
I think you answered everything.
What do we do with our artists to promote them? Yeah, so I mean, we're pretty selective about who we show. And I think, how do we promote them? We try and place them in good collections. We sell their work so they have money to make better works. We do publications for them, which is important. We showcase them in important art fairs. We place them in important collections, museums, curators, the whole work.
Okay, I need to touch on representational mode of practice. That is signing a contract with an artist, and you will be representing him in the country or that particular city. How does that work for older galleries such as yours? Sharon?
The judiciary in India is very tough, so I don't like to get into contracts. I
don't think there's contracts either, Sharon.
I understand. Yes, understanding and a trust.
It's so easy for a new artist, emerging artist, and you can just dictate and say, hey, you better sign a contract, and he has nothing to lose. But for an older artist, I mean, how do you have done so much of marketing, you have published so many books, and while you should reap that benefit, someone else is doing it when they ship. I mean, how does that happen?
I think there's a lot of give and take, and I think it's a relationship. It's like a marriage of sorts.
Yeah,
so if it breaks down, it breaks down, and one has to move on. But there are lots of
Sharon, I agree with you. When Sharon and I started the gallery, there was not such professionalism that you sign contracts, but it's a trusted faith. Running a gallery is the artist's trust in you and your trust in the artist.
Yeah.
And then the clients come and they trust you. And then we have like the buyers, like the clients. And then generations, like 23 years ago when I started, now their daughters and sons are buying, So it's a different story there. And the artists too, if they are with you, they like your dealings, they are with you. But maybe there are other reasons they might not like to work with you. So then they don't.
So I'm going to ask you that question.
Just adding to that, I think, and in my conversation with many artists like senior and mid-career, and it's very interesting. They say like there's no paperwork, there's nothing. It's like what Sharon is saying, and it's saying everybody, and also again, this is that trust, and it's like the fact that you want to work together, and even if you bring in contract in equation, just think about it. If two people don't want to work together, what will you do? What are you going to do to the artist? Do you think like you're going to ask him or her to create X number of works? And it doesn't work like that. So I think it's illusion.
If you do, you don't get quality work.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
As well. We do know that there are contracts and monthly deals where people have been asked to make X number of works.
So this is just overstated, I think.
It is a trust and faith, I think, of gallery and the artist normally.
Shri, when you actually sign a contract with a young artist, Do you actually sustain him if you don't sell his works? I mean, do you provide some kind of a monetary benefit or?
Yeah, it's not. We have in the sense where we sometimes do produce works. So it's not really giving them a stipend or something or sustaining them, but it is, yes, I mean, or you pay an advance against certain works that they're going to do. So it is kind of flexible. It's not really contractual. One or two artists like to work with contracts and they're very clear in their head. It's not like a legal thing. It's just that once you put it down in writing, everybody knows what's expected of them. You know, I think people here are just scared. It's a contract means I'm going to take you to court. No, it's just a very clear understanding that I expect A, B, C from you, and you expect D, E, F from me. That's it.
Sometimes it's good to have that clarity. But Mukesh, you have to talk about your APL, the Artists Premier League, that goes about creating the brand artist.
No. We were just having fun and like Sarmisha and no, we were just talking about this. It's one of those things, the hypothetical things one talks about. And it's interesting that, like,
to talk about the artist as celebrity.
Yeah.
And
also it goes with how you create the brand artist.
And it's very interesting. It's the same question that, like, Sri, you answered that, like, it's a two-way street. Is that you want to work with a certain artist. It's a relationship, and you figure out a way to just keep moving on, right? And all these possibilities that you talked about, like solo, group, local, global, museum shows, art fairs, biennales, whatever. And when you work together with that kind of intent, of course, the talent intact, that's what starts it. And you work with like an X number of artists, and it will happen that like one or two they actually become superstars, right? So we were just like kidding about that like then if somebody else comes and wants to have that superstar, then what do? Does it like I was just kidding that one could start an artist premier league or something like that.
Can you actually bid for an artist and say, I will represent you at this price? I mean, assuming you're talking about blue chip artists.
Yeah, no, just I want to say something here. I think at that level, I mean, we've so far been talking about young artists, but now with contemporary artists, say at the very top levels, there is that kind of, it does happen. I mean, the big galleries will fight for artists. They will, have those contracts. I'll give you more. I'll give you more. So it's. I think that's
in the international market. That's definitely happening.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's also about prestige of the prestige of the galleries. But I think in India it's slightly different. Not yet. Like
it's much more relationship based in India.
Yes.
That's just my observation.
But you welcomed it actually.
In this context, I would like to say something. There are some galleries, I'm sure Sharon will agree with me, that you nurture young artists and you try to establish them. And as soon as some galleries come to know, they're doing well, they immediately grab them. So there the contract is important, We older galleries have faced these problems.
Yeah, we've faced this many times, but that's when I think it's a little bit of a trust that breaks down, and then you just feel,
another artist
will come along.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think there are also many business models. I think if you look at like some people, you show younger artists, you grow with them. You know they'll leave you one day, but you're holding on to some early works of theirs, and you will make your money eventually if a big gallery signs them up. I don't think it's I would be happy if tomorrow some big international gallery 10 years later signed up one of my young artists whose works I've collected. So that's how you look at it.
And actually being an incubator is very exciting because you see the most exciting work.
Absolutely.
When they're struggling.
So it's good that it's all taken in a lighter note.
And you don't have to deal with the egos later on. So.
Exactly. So, you nurture a young artist.
That's definitely a good point.
So you nurture a young artist, let them fly, and then somebody else takes them up, makes them big, and then you reap the benefits. Well, why not? Okay, so this is for you. Artists are creating their own market. Are they spoiling it for themselves? Yes. Can an artist survive without a gallery? And if so...
Not in the long term. Okay, they will survive to a certain point. But I think it's not a good thing for an artist. And I'm not saying this because I'm a gallerist. I'm saying this because if you look at the history of artists who have been good and have tried to make their lives without a gallery, it doesn't work because at some stage or the other they've used a gallery, and at some stage or the other they need a gallery, whether it's in their formative years or, like today if you look at someone like Hussain, he doesn't need any of us. We probably need him. But in the formative years, he would have been nowhere without Kali Pandol.